welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Happy Saturday. It is the weekly energy card reading. And what that is you, the viewer, get to choose from one of 3 tarot decks, and we'll go through and do a quick spread to see what the energies will be like for the next 7 days. It does not need to be the week of the, oh my gosh, I got to do some math now because there's 28 days. Yep. So it doesn't need to be the week of February 27th through March 6th. I can add. I really can. I'm sorry. It's been a long day, guys. In order for the messages to resonate, if you come across this video at any time, if there may be messages contained. There's a saying in card reading, we say, take what resonates and leave the rest. So if you feel like you are coming across a message that is not speaking to you, if it doesn't sound right, you do not need to take it. Just throw it out the window, cast it to the wind, let it blow away, because I think of card reading like dream interpretation. We just see what we see, and if it's not meant for you to hear, then it might be meant for someone else to hear. And again, sometimes you can be drawn to more than one pile or more than one reading, and there might be little nuggets of information contained. One other thing I like to do when I'm watching videos too is that sometimes if I can't pick a pile, or if I feel like a message isn't resonating, sometimes I'll just scroll through, like if you take that little timeline bar and just kind of move it somewhere, anywhere, and then just kind of stop. I kind of feel like that's almost like when you go to your bookshelf, open up a book, and then just point at a paragraph. You can say the same thing with the Bible. Open up the Bible, point to a paragraph, and then you read it, and it just seems like that's the message for you. So that's another way that you can kind of creatively use tarot or oracle readings to just help you find the message that you're looking for. But this is all of my videos are for entertainment purposes only. So it is just meant in good fun, and that's how we roll. Now, I am going to be clarifying using an oracle deck today, and then moving forward, I do clarify using different oracle venues. Like I do have dice, I have playing cards, we have oracle cards, and we have a charms dish. So, you know, week to week, and in the different videos, we'll use different clarifiers. And I tend to go with one that I'm drawn to. And I was really thinking about this deck. And when we get to the deck description, I will go over the cards. If you ever want to skip straight to the reading part or the pick a deck part, the timestamps are listed in the description box below, as are the names and the authors of the decks that I use. So by all means, you don't have to sit through any blabbing if you don't want to. You can, that is your fast pass, click and go, and all is well. Now, I'm sorry that I'm being a little slow in my speech. I've had a little bit of a rough day. I'm tired. I had one of those days where I communicate a lot in my daily life, and one of the last communications, one of the last conversations of the day was a little bit rough. It was a little bit soul-sucking, if you know what I mean. I think we've all been there, where we have that conversation or phone call that just really leaves you with bad energy, right? And it's interesting being kind of a more sensitive person. I'm not a psychic, but I am very intuitive, and when you think of somebody's aura, you kind of think of it like an invisible egg of energy around yourself, right? An invisible ball, like a shield, you know, like an aura, an oval of your energy. And whether or not you're standing directly in front of someone, or whether or not you're talking to them over the phone or texting, email, you know, direct messages, you know, sometimes when someone's really going off on you, or the other person is angry in their life, or they want to, you know, and we've all been there, you know, you're taking your personal crap out on someone else. Sometimes we pick up. It's almost like kind of particles that stick to you. The only thing I can think of is, like, you know how when you first get out of a shower and you're a little bit, you know, you're a little bit sticky. You know, if you walked into a blizzard of feathers or dust, or, you know, if somebody threw dirt at you, it would stick to you, right? And that's kind of how I feel sometimes. It's just, I just feel like, you know, that there's a buildup sometimes of the interactions that we have with people. And sometimes it makes you start to mirror the negativity. If someone's coming at you with negativity, it makes you start to mirror it. And I do feel like sometimes a lot of readers talk about this, and it's true for everyone. You don't have to be like a card reader for this to apply, but it is very important for you to clear your energy. You know, to cleanse your aura, to get all those particulates off you, because sometimes you start to react in the same energy that you were subjected to. So I definitely try not to come into the readings with that energy still on me. But I have a filming schedule. I like to stay regimed, and so I'm gonna go through for it. And actually, when I read the cards, it does make it that is cleansing to me. It helps me feel better, and it helps me kind of work out, any emotions that I have from the day. So, but but thank you for listening to my spiel. We're going to jump right into it. One other thing I do want to say is that starting at the end of this week, starting on Saturday the 27th, is a full moon. It's really early in the morning. If you're in the United States on the Eastern Shore, Eastern Standard Time, it's around 3:18 a.m. And it's going to be 8 degrees in Virgo. So that's going to be a real powerful one. Anytime a new or full moon is in the opposite of a water sign, it's very practical, but I just think people are gonna be feeling it, and full moon always pulls on you. I always say full moon, the moon rules the tides, and the humans are 70% water. So you wonder why, I always say nurses in emergency rooms always get nervous when there's a full moon, because it seems like everyone's acting a little loony, right? So we're gonna be acting loony in a Virgo way. We might be a little bit more fact checking, or a little bit more nitpicky, or a little bit more, regimed, like me tonight, on Saturday, so the start of our week. But we've got 3 decks here. The first deck is actually really special. This is the first deck that I've ever bought for tarot many, many moons ago. It's a low Scarabeo deck that's called the Tarot Art Nouveau. And it's a lot of really beautiful Art Nouveau images. And it is the first actual tarot deck I ever bought because I liked it. I thought it was pretty. I later went with the Morgan Greer because I needed to actually learn the tarot because, as you know, pretty decks don't always teach you the tarot. But this is a gorgeous deck, and I know it now because I know tarot. But it's the first deck I ever bought, and this is actually the first stone I ever bought. And I actually bought it from a little store called the Silver Fox. In the state that I live, and it was so beautiful. It's actually an amethyst point, and it's stayed together. It has one little chip from me being rough with it, but so the very first deck I ever bought with the very first stone I ever bought is deck number 1. The second deck is the Everyday Tarot by Brigit Esselmont. She's more commonly known by Biddy Tarot. She's a very, very prominent tarot. She teaches tarot, and she has other lifestyle courses at her website. But this is her deck. It's really, really beautiful. And on top of it, we have a citrine stone. And last but not least, we have the Tattoo Tarot Inked in Intuition. There's quite a few tattoo decks out there, but this one is Inked in Intuition. And it's a really gorgeous deck. Half of these, if you really wanted a tattoo, this would be the deck to go with to get inspiration. And on top of it, we have a beautiful cherry volcano quartz. Clarifying today, I was really drawn to use this deck. This is actually a more psychological deck, and me being in kind of that mood today, I think it would be helpful. But we have, this is called Mixed Emotions. And this is actually more of a psychology deck. I did talk about this deck in my in my deck review video. This is interesting, guys. This card, there might be a message in one of these decks, just to throw it out there. This card keeps tapping, and it's grief, sorrowful, heartbroken, bereaved. So I'm not sure if somebody is dealing with somebody who's in that energy, but that card keeps popping out. So maybe that's why I was drawn to this deck, because maybe as we go through the week, we might be talking to someone who's either in that emotions. But this is a wonderful deck. It talks about a myriad of different feelings, and it gives, you know, keywords. So I think it's going to be most helpful. And anytime I use it, both personally and in my reads, it gives a wealth of definition to the energy that we're talking about. But all right, guys, so I'll go ahead and do a freeze frame. Please choose from your intuition. If you need more time, please pause the video, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. And again, if I'm moving slow, my apologies. I'm hanging in there. I'm waiting for the weekend. But all right, so deck number 1. Oh, and I didn't even realize deck number 1, my first deck that I've ever bought with my first stone I've ever bought. And Hangman on the bottom of the deck. So deck number 1, what is your energy for the week? Ooh, that flew out. Okay. Middle of the week, please. Okay. Okay, please clarify temperance. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and see. Okay, what is your mixed emotion card for the week? All right, guys. Okay, this is really interesting energy. Okay, just to throw it out there, I didn't mention it in the intro, but this deck has a little bit of what we call naked bits. It's not full on nudity, but you see quite a few tatas. It doesn't show anything manly, but it does show a lot of tatas. So just to bear that in mind. All of my videos are over 18, so it's not a big deal, but just to throw that out there. The beginning of the week, you got the King of Wands. And I always, you know, every single time I look at this card, I always think of like a Zeus-like character, like a Zeus, like someone like the king of the gods, right? But the one thing about, and you can be a man or a woman in the King of Wands energy, but what I really get, what I always think of when I see the King of Wands is the King of Wands is the apex of his suit. He's there's, you know, all of the suits go from the ace to the king, and the king, it's good to be the king. You're never, there's no card higher than the king, right? He's, the king has lived through all of the stages of his suit, and he's the mature masculine of that experience. And wands are fire energy, right? It's action. And I'm just going to go ahead and just pull one thing. Okay, please clarify. Okay, Ace of Swords, Eight of Wands. Got you. Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. All right, so what I'm getting from this is in the beginning of the week, you got the 2 clarifying cards was the Ace of Wands and the the Ace of Swords and the Eight of Wands. And so what I'm really getting here, and especially with the King of Wands energy, the King of Wands has experienced a lot in his life. It's almost like he's been through the entire suit. He's been through the Ace of Wands. He's been through the Ten of Wands. He's been through the Page of Wands, the Knight of Wands. He's experienced with things. And what I'm kind of getting here is in the beginning of the week, from your experience, you know what you want to go after. Right? So in the beginning of the week, there's some kind of goal, if it's a relationship and doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It can be like friendship, or it can be, you know, some kind of goal that you want to go after. You have a clear path. Well, you have it clear in your head what you want. And that's the other thing about the King of Wands, is that he's the mature masculine. He's been through it all. The other thing that I get with the King that I always think of is that I think of this as the person who, like, if you like skydiving and you've jumped out of the plane 100 times, and then you start to get arthritis and you're like, okay, maybe I need to stop doing that, but then you the king has experienced enough excitement in his life that he cherry picks what adventures he wants to go on, right? He's had a few Wile E. Coyote moments, right? He's had a few of those. He's been the Knight of Wands before, and he's matured out of that. But when he sees something that he wants, he knows how to go get it, right? He's a go-getter. But he's selective about it, because that's his maturity showing through. And that's what I'm kind of getting from this, guys. I'm getting in the beginning of the week, especially with the Ace of Swords, which means clarity. It means breakthrough. It means like a mental aha moment. And then the Eight of Wands, which is like full speed ahead. What I'm kind of getting is, I'm really getting that you know what it is that you want to go after, and it's almost like an aha moment. Like, you know what you want, and you're willing. It's almost like in the beginning of the week, you're willing to put energy towards something. It's like it's the right thing to do. It's the right path to take. It's the course that you want to take. And I just feel like you have a sense of strong clarity about it. The other thing that I get is that if there's been if there's been anything that's been holding you back, or something that you feel like and again, if you're watching this at the time that the video post, it could be world events. I mean, we're in pandemic world, it's like a lot of things have slowed down, and it's not like things are going to bounce back right away. They're getting slowly better. So it could be in that sense too, especially with it being the king. It's almost like you're planning, or you're ready to take action, and either that, or in the beginning of the week, you have your eye on the prize. That's the other thing I kind of get, is like I'm seeing like you're taking aim for what you want to do. And then also the Ace of Swords and the Eight of Wands can also mean that you have a plan of action, or you can see a course of action to take, which is very, very Wands. It's almost like there's no question that action will, with the King of Wands, action will be taken. It's just a matter of when and how. And it's almost like in the beginning of the week, you see you're in. That's what I'm hearing. You see you're in. You see your path forward, and it's the path that you want to take. And I do also kind of get the sense, just out of we take the artwork into consideration. The other thing that I kind of get is that I get the sense that you've been sitting on your throne for a while. The other thing is, you see how this woman, all the kings are like this, by the way. The also thing is that you see how this woman is kind of trying to hold him down, but he's looking straight ahead. One other thing, and just to throw it out there, and again, don't take it, if this is not resonating, do not take this message. It might just be a message specifically for one person watching this. I kind of get the sense that someone might have been trying to kind of keep you complacent. Because the other thing about the King of Wands is, the King of Wands is a king. He has a throne room, right? He can get used to sitting in one place. But in his heart, he is a journeyer, right? He goes on adventures. That's what Wands do. So just because he's a king, or just because he's been crowned, and maybe he's expected to stay in one place for a certain period of time, doesn't mean that he's going to stay put. Absolutely not. He's got life to live still. Right? He's just got a touch of arthritis, and he chooses what life he lives, right? But what I am kind of getting here is that you might have somebody who's trying to keep you kind of complacent. Also, I am getting a strong sense with it being pandemic world. Maybe you have been kind of sitting in the same place for a while now, and you might have someone, and it doesn't have to be a woman, but you might have someone who's kind of used to you being in one place, but you are very clearly not looking to stay where you are, because you see him sit, and you see how his hand's on that wand. It's almost like he's going to use it like a walking stick. I'm seeing the person kind of put the stick into the ground to push off, right? That's what I'm getting, guys. That's what I'm getting. The other thing I see is, you see how there's an eagle here? And I really think, I think when I think of birds or eagles, I do think of the sword suit, and I seeing that ace. You're going to see a way forward, and it's almost like by the beginning of the week, if you are still in one place, you've got a game plan, and you're seeing an end, or you're seeing a way to get towards what you want, and you're ready. It's almost like you're ready to pick that journey, because again, you're the king, you choose your journey, and you're ready to go for it. I really get that sense you're ready to go for it. But the one thing that I get is that it might be a shock to someone in your environment, because they really thought you were going to stay in one place. But the kings, you know, just because you're a king doesn't mean that you don't continue to journey. Now, one other thing that I see here is that yeah, this is interesting energy, guys, because in the middle of the week, so that's the beginning of the week, you're ready to go on a new adventure. And the other thing is, I think you have a lot of experience behind this, right? Whatever action you take, or whatever goal you have in mind, you're ready to go forward with a lot of vigor. And it's I'm getting calculated decision. Like it's a calculated choice. It's not, you know, you're not doing it, even though can be impulsive. The other thing I get is, it's something you really, really want to do. So you're going to do it. The other thing I get is, it's almost like, the other thing I kind of get with this scenario is, maybe maybe it's not like you to convince. I don't know how to phrase this. I'm sorry. I'm trying to describe this the right way. You're not used to staying in one place for so long, and maybe you've been in one place longer than normal, and people are starting to think that you're stagnating, or they're thinking, okay, he likes being here, and it's almost like you're upset that you gave anybody that impression. Because normally you would be moving, you would just keep on trucking, keep on moving, but maybe world events or other things in your life have kind of kept you in one place, and you're not normally like that. So I do kind of get the sense that you might be shocking someone when you go to do something new, because they really thought that you were just going to stay in one place. But whoever it is knows how dynamic you are. They do know the energy that you have towards your goals. So it's going to be a little bit of a shock, but I do get the sense that this person is going to be surprised that you're taking some kind of action towards something. And in a family context, if you're a mom, you know, this could be your kids, you know, maybe you say, okay, you guys are fine, I'm going to go do my yoga class. And they're just kind of like, where are you going? You're like, I'm going to do my thing, you know? Again, you don't have to be a man in the king's energy. A woman can be in that energy for sure. The middle of the week this is really interesting, guys, is that, we've got the Knight of Cups and the Seven of Swords. And this is interesting energy, because in the middle of the week, I do feel like the Knight of Cups goes on missions. Again, I kind of read this as if somebody is kind of making the choice to be kind of stealthy. And again, you know, maybe, and with, I can read this as separate energy, like separate highlights throughout the week, but I do think this is almost a little bit connected to the beginning of the week. It's almost like you're trying not to shock anybody with what you're doing, but you are really putting your heart into what you're doing. And I do get kind of a sense like you might have to be a little bit stealthy about it. There's really something that you want to go do, and it's like you have your heart in it. It's something very heart-centered. But it's almost like you kind of have to sneak around in order to not shock anyone. Now, one other way I can kind of read this and is that you might be having a few clandestine encounters with a Knight of Cups. Like, there might be someone that you're kind of talking to or seeing who's very romantic and is they're coming forth kind of forcefully, and it's almost like you feel like things are hidden, you know, like things cannot, it has to be behind closed doors. Now, one other way that I can kind of read this is that You know, this woman does kind of look like the same woman. Like the hair is kind of similar in all three of these cards. So if this is your energy, you, not to sound funny, but you might have kind of a commitment to like a kind of a fire masculine in your life. If this is a father figure, then I kind of get the vibe as if maybe you're dating someone that this guy doesn't approve of, like you're someone your dad doesn't approve of, or to be honest, guys, I'm kind of seeing that you know you might be talking to someone because again, this is emotional vulnerability. This and it's this is very early 20s kind of energy. This is young adult energy. But I do get the sense that maybe you're dating someone that your dad doesn't really approve of, or it could quite possibly be that you're dating one person who's a little bit of a tough character, but then you might be talking to someone else, but you're keeping it really on the down low in the middle of the week. And one last way that I can kind of read it is and again, if this is your energy, you might be, you might be receiving some kind of like, you might be talking to someone who's being very romantic and you know kind of wooing you a little bit, but it's almost like you are almost questioning their motives a little bit. You think that they might be being a little bit stealthy because the Knight of Cups and the Seven of Swords is definitely, it's a sneaking around card. But what I kind of get with is what you're doing in private really thrills you emotionally. And I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds crazy. The other thing, just one other thing, just to throw it out there, if you are kind of maybe, if you are a free agent and maybe you are dating two people at once, it's quite possible that you kind of have an interaction with the one person at the beginning of the week, but he seems a little distracted. Like you like him and you really think he's a god, right? But he's always, you know, maybe a little stiff, a little, you know, unemotional. But you think highly of him because she's looking up at him. But then in the middle of the week, it's almost like it is almost like you get some time with someone that you feel a little bit looser with, like someone that you can really, you know, that's not as the other thing that I kind of get is that this is a king and this is a knight, so it's almost like maybe you have someone who is very kingly in your life that you really respect and admire and look up to, but they do seem a little bit stiff, they seem a little bit formal, and then but there's somebody else that you're talking to that's a lot looser with things. But the problem is that it's clandestine, it's hidden, right? I think you have a good time with this person, but it is almost like it's behind closed doors. It's not open to the world. The other thing I kind of get is if this is two people, the other person is more, open. But one last way that I can read this, just to throw out all the scenarios, is that maybe in the beginning of the week you really get a clear idea of where you want to go, but by the middle of the week, again, I am getting this feeling like you almost feel like you have to be a little, you got to kind of keep it on the down low. You can't shout it from the mountaintops, but it is making you real emotionally happy, because that's the other thing, is that the Knight of Cups is going on in a mission of the heart, right? But I do get the sense that it's almost like you have to be a little bit quiet about it. You can't shout it from the rooftops, right? And I do get the sense, the one theme that I definitely get is because I get the sense like you don't want to shock anyone or surprise anyone. Like you can't. I'm getting a sense like you can't make any sudden movements in whatever situation that you're in. And I know that sounds crazy, guys, but that's what I'm getting. Now, by the end of the week, this is really quite beautiful energy. You got the Four of Wands and you got Temperance. And Temperance is a major arcana. Um, I really do get the sense that by the end of the week, you're going to be, and temperance has been showing up at the end of the week for quite a bit now. I do think that that's a common denominator. That might be kind of our central energy. But what I'm really getting is that I think by the end of the week, you're really going to be balancing everything. Um, and with the Four of Wands is really, the Four of Wands is really like it's kind of like a graduation card. I do get the sense that, I do get the sense, especially, again, the imageries in this cards are very flowery. It's not traditional tarot at all. You have to really study tarot before you start getting into the pretty decks. But you know what I'm almost getting is I really do get a sense that by the end of the week, if this is a situation where you have to really kind of voice what you want to do to another person and you think this person won't understand, I think you're going to be smoothing that over by the end of the week. I think you will be telling this person what what your goals are, and but I get the sense like you're almost, the look on these two people's faces, it's almost like I think you'd be surprised that one person, that the person that you were afraid to talk to, how understanding they'll be, right? Because temperance it's the recalibration of a situation. So I just get the sense that if it is related to this goal that you're going after, you're going to feel like you're in a much better place of balance. The other thing is that, the four is a wonderful it's a card of an achievement, right? Um, so now one other way that I kind of read it is the Four of Wands can also be something like a marriage. So if this is if your goal is going after someone, but you feel like you have to keep it quiet, or you feel like you have to take kind of strategic steps to make that happen, by the end of the week you're going to be in a much better place with it. It's almost like, and with it being two cups, it's almost like, those two hearts will be in a much better and, more on the same level. um, the other thing that I get with the mixing of water, because water is emotions, I do see that as being kind of like I show you a little bit of my emotions and then you show me yours, and then our emotions mix together. I do kind of see it as a little bit of an empathy card, right? Like, I also do see it as a little bit of a compromise card. Like, I give to your point of view and then you give to mine, and then we come to, a good, mixture, a good, a balanced, decision. But with the Four of Wands, I do get the sense like this could also be, by the end of the week, it could be balancing kind of like a home life. That's one other way you can read it. Maybe you have kind of obligations at home, and then you feel like you're sneaking away to do other things. I think by the end of the week you'll be able to balance the two sides of yourself, and find, like, not even vindication, but like celebration of all the things that you like to do. Um, Now, just one other way that I can kind of see this is that maybe there is, um, if this is some kind of disagreement with a family member, or you trying to come to, because what I do kind of get with this Seven of Swords is maybe you do have to kind of sneak around because you have expectations of you from a family member. Is kind of what I'm getting. Um, but by the end of the week you're really going to smooth things over, and, I just get the sense like you won't have to do this kind of, um, you won't have to continue to be so sneaky. um, Either the person that you're talking to is going to be okay and you're going to get to a better place with them, um, but this is talking about like a plateau. These two cards have in common the fact that you're coming to a point of balance. Like it's almost like you're no longer climbing the mountain of challenge. You're hitting the peak of it, and you get to breathe and enjoy the fruits of your labor. And it is going to involve some kind of like either emotional balance or the balance of two priorities in your life, where you don't have to, you can give both of them the same amount of time and effort, and not have to feel like you're doing one and not the other. Now the emotions card you got is you got discouraged, and it says dispirited, disheartened, deterred, right? And I do kind of get this feeling from the middle of the week with the Seven of Swords and the Knight of Cups. I do kind of feel that it's like, again, like you think about the other thing that I kind of get from this is that maybe you have a goal in mind. If this is relationship related, if you have a goal in mind with somebody, and you have your sights on them and you go for it, and then you get a little bit of rebuff, then you kind of, again, you backpedal and then you try again. You look at this image and you think about riding a bike, and you think about how many times you fall when you're riding a bike, right? But eventually you get it, right? You get the two wheels in tandem, you get the two cups to balance, right? um, so I do think that I think that if this is something that you have to kind of try, and then if you get knocked down, try again. um, but definitely stick to what your heart is telling you to do. And I would also say, if able, try to be forthright with what you're doing. Don't deceive anybody or be sneaky. But here I am getting more like, I'm getting kind of like a fox-like energy, where it's almost like you have to be a little bit, you have to choose your actions carefully, to get the end result that you want. Um, but by the end of the week, I do think that you're going to be in a much more balanced place. Either that, or if you do have to smooth over something with someone. Um, and just one other thing to throw it out there: if this King of Wands is somebody else, maybe someone you've dealt with in the past that had been kind of the sneaky Pete kind of person, it is quite possible that they might be coming around again, and you might be kind of giving them what for. I kind of see, what I see is, I see that it looks like, you see how the grass here looks like the grass there. So I just kind of get the sense like maybe someone's trying to approach you, and you feel like they're being too sneaky, and you'll just kind of call them out, which discourages them. But I do see some very positive, very happy energy by the end of the week, and I do feel like you'll have a sense of accomplishment by the weekend. But wow, guys, that was different. These cards, I do find it is a little bit challenging for me. This King of Wands really wants to pop out, but they are a little bit challenged to read, but good messages. All right, so deck number 2. What's your energy for a week? Let's find out. Okay, beginning of the week, deck number 2. Everyday Tarot. Oh, there's the Ace of Swords again. Wow. Middle of the week. Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, end of the week. Oh my gosh. Oh wow, this is really interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and get... Okay, this is different. This is interesting. All right. Now, first off, we've got a really strong Earth Mother vibe here. There's quite a bit of pentacles, but Beginning of the week, you got the Empress, and underneath it, you got the Ace of Swords. So, what I'm kind of getting here is, if you have something going on with your mother, or if if this is your energy, um, what I'm kind of seeing is I'm seeing some kind of like aha moment, some kind of breakthrough mentally regarding your mother. Now, what it could be is that you know what I almost get from this, and I know it sounds a little funny, but you know how when you're a mom, or if you care for children, you know how sometimes my mom has always said this too. She goes, "Gosh, when I had kids." It seems to be like a popular consensus that once you have kids, you always feel like, she always said, I always felt like a bad mom, like I didn't know what I was doing, right? And but when you think about it, you don't know what you're doing. Just because you birth a child or bring a little one into this world doesn't mean that you get the manual, right? I always say we never get the manual. But it's almost like, maybe in the beginning of the week, maybe you felt like you were either struggling with your kids, or there, you just, maybe last week you just had a few moments where you just felt like you were not handling them right, or and you know how that is. That can be in any area. It could be that maybe they were being picky about, you were trying to get them to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then they said, no, I don't want to eat that, and you thought they were being picky, and then later you find out that they were allergic to peanut butter or something, and you're like, oh great, I'm a bad, I'm a bad mom. Or maybe one of the kids was going through a real, like, having a lot of emotional outbursts, and you had a long day at work, and you just really weren't understanding them, and you were, and then later you look back on it, you're like, oh gosh, I should have been, more understanding. I should have been more receptive. By the beginning of the week, I get this feeling as if you're gonna get like the clarity, like the understanding of how to be the best mom ever, is what I'm kind of getting. And if you're not an actual mother, I get this in a sense, like a nurturing sense of others. So maybe, again, it can be nurturing in a social media sense. Maybe you have a TikTok channel, maybe you have a YouTube channel, um, maybe you just post really positive things on Facebook. Um, or or if you do have a family, I do just get the sense like you're just going to be really on your A game, in the mom zone in the beginning of the week. The other thing that I kind of get is like it's almost like all of your instincts are right on par. If someone, if it's almost like you're really on it. Like maybe one of your children starts acting a little withdrawn, and then you go in and you have a talk, and you realize, okay, they had a really rough day. They really needed to talk to you, and you were there. So point for mom, right? Um, the other thing that I kind of get is that maybe you get um, some kind of inspiration that came from your mom, or it could be it could be inspiration that comes from your spouse. If you're a man watching this, the mother of your children, um, and the last thing that I kind of get from this is that sometimes when you just feel like you're in your, the other thing about that, and this whole spread really talks to this. The other thing I get from this is that maybe you just really feel abundant at the beginning of the week, right? I kind of get this energy of you being the one that you feel like you have enough, and you give that to others, right? So this can be kind of a spiritual energy too. Like maybe you're just really feeling really spiritually in tune at the beginning of the week, and you're really able to give that to others. Um, but if this is like in a work context, because there are a lot of pentacles here as well, it just might be that really you're being one of those leaders in a nurturing way. It's so funny sometimes. When you see kings or emperors in the mix, you think, oh, okay, that makes a great boss. But it's amazing how the empress can be a wonderful boss as well. She just does it in a real nurturing way. If you're a school teacher or something like that, maybe you're really you're maybe you're having a real inspirational week at the beginning of the week, with the things that you're doing to nurture others. But now, if one other caveat, if you're a man watching this, one way that I do kind of read it is that you might actually have epiphany that the woman that you adore is your empress. That might just be for one or two of you, but it's almost like it's like that breakthrough of thinking, aha, she's the one, right? Aha, she's the one. But for most of us in just our everyday lives, I just think that you're just going to be really, again, on your A game, like your A game for your mom. If you're a mom, you're going to be really there for your kids. Like, it's like you don't miss a beat. Like, you're not going to miss a beat. If someone's acting strange, you're going to know exactly what's going on, and you're going to be ready to handle it in the most nurturing way possible. And if this is you personally, and you can be a man watching this as well, you might just be handling things in a real nurturing way for other people, and that could be for your family, for your coworkers, or for just your friends. That's the other thing, is that you might be really there for your friend group. Now, middle of the week, this is interesting, guys. You have two major arcanas. Middle of the week, you got the Wheel of Fortune. And I just think this is a beautiful card. I think in the middle of the week, anytime you see a major come up in a weekly read, it doesn't mean anything crazy is going to happen. But I just get the sense, if you're really in your Empress energy, one other way that I read that is I definitely get a sense of abundance going on. Like, I feel like good things are happening for you. And by the middle of the week, it's like I'm almost getting like a flood of abundance for you. That could be financial abundance, or it could just be really good news in other areas. Again, if you're being really nurturing, or if you're just on it, this could be, it can be a lucky windfall, is what I'm kind of thinking. I had a great reader bring this up in one of the other videos that I was watching that I thought was really amazing. I think it was the Real Housewives of Tarot. She's really good. But she mentioned that you know how when you go through relationships, if you believe in past lives, right? Whatever you believe, if you believe that you've had past lives with somebody, there's we talk a lot about karma, right? And the Wheel of Fortune is the card of karma. And karma is about it's your brownie points and your anti-brownie points with people, right? Maybe you did spend maybe in your relationships you've known someone before, so to speak. If you did have any bad karma, sometimes when you work out that karma in this life, then it once that debt has been resolved, you're free to build new positive karma with people. And so, not to be all woo woo, sorry to go off on a tangent, but just to give a little bit of context to this card. The Wheel of Fortune is about karma. And when it's in the upright, it's about good karma. It's about the Wheel of Fortune turning in your favor. So what I'm seeing here is that I just really get the sense that you are in a positive conduit of abundance. And you can see it with, you have more than enough. You are proud and happy to have what you have, and you're willing to share and bestow that on others. You are very nurturing. And then it's almost like the universe is giving you more. The other thing that I kind of get is that if this is a relationship read where quite possibly, and just again, for just a few of you, if you were expecting to get pregnant or hoping to get pregnant, if you do find out that you are, or at the beginning of the week, or you get, like, the other thing is that the Ace of Swords is the beginning of something, right? So this could be the beginning of a career that is intellectually based. right? It could be the start of a media career. Maybe you write articles or post things that nurture other people. Maybe you write psychology articles. Maybe you write, you post social media things. Maybe you have a channel that posts content about fashion or about, self-help or self-care. That's you nurturing other people. And by you having that abundance and giving that to others, the universe is putting you into a positive cycle of giving you more. So, middle of the week, long story short, too late, middle of the week, you might be seeing some kind of abundance from all of the positivity that you've been putting out in the world. The other thing is that majors are, I always think of major arcana as being the bigger gears of a clock. Like the major life events, like getting married, turns the smaller gear of the clock of buying a house with someone, of having children with someone, that turns the smaller gears of your months, your days, your weeks. It's like all the little everyday things connect to a higher major life event, and the majors are the major life events. So what I'm kind of seeing here is that maybe if someone is looking at you like you're their empress, you feel abundant, and then all of a sudden, more is coming to you because you're putting more out. The other thing about majors is that usually this windfall doesn't just come out of the blue. Usually this is some kind of this is the universe giving back to you for the good. Again, it's about karma, right? What you put out in the world comes back to you. It's almost like maybe, and again, if this is world event related, maybe you were really of service during the pandemic. Maybe you did little things. Maybe you really stepped up and took care of people. Maybe, and again, I just get the sense like it's almost like you're seeing some kind of windfall from this. It could be financial. Maybe someone's like, oh, like here, I'll even use YouTube as an example. Maybe you started a channel during the pandemic to help make people feel better, and then it really took off. You got 100,000 subscribers, and now people, you're getting offers for people to sponsors, and then you start making money off of it. So again, it's like you're putting good out into the world and it's coming back to you. In the middle of the week, you're going to see some kind of manifestation of that. And it's funny. It's going to feel like a surprise to you, but it's really just the universe giving you back from the abundance of good karma that you've already built. You have the other thing that I always get is when I look at this lady's crown, I always think of cosmic brownie points. Cosmic brownie points. She has more than enough. She has so much within herself that she gives back to the world. And honestly, in this depiction, she's holding a pomegranate. And it's interesting, the pomegranate really gets related to the story of Persephone, and this is interesting because we are coming up on spring time too. In the mythology of Persephone and Hades, Persephone is taken to the underworld, and she's so hungry she eats 6 pomegranate seeds. And for every single one of the seeds, she has to stay in the underworld for 6 months, and that's what creates the seasons. Because her mother Demeter is the mother of the harvest, actually, and she, what it is Demeter gets sad when Persephone has to go back to the underworld, and that's fall. That starts in September through, and we're coming up on March. Next week is the beginning of March, so I get the sense like possibly, and with that story, I'm really getting that story. Maybe it has been over the last year, guys, or the last 6 months. Since September of last year, and now you really are. By the middle of the week, you're going to see some kind of reward. And also, in a more modern sense, it could be that maybe you're just doing a really, really good job of taking care of other people during hard times, and I do get the sense that this might be media related. That you are starting to see bonuses from that. Maybe you're starting to see, you're getting fiscal court, reimbursement for that. But it's again, it's the reward for the work and the energy, the good juju that you've put out into the world. But you're really going to see it by the middle of the week. one other thing is, if this is relationship related, it's almost like, with this being the fixed signs. And let me just think for a minute, because Saturday is the full moon in Virgo at 8 degrees. Then it goes 6, 7, uh, which, yep, Libra. Yeah, guys, by the middle to the late week, it's going to be in Leo. It's going to be in Leo. The moon is going to be in Leo. So, um, I would kind of look to see if you do have any Leo in your chart. I would go ahead and look to see what house that falls on. Like, I have Leo in my chart on the 10th house of career and acknowledgement. So if I pick this pile, then I would kind of look to that. It could be some acknowledgement on a professional standing, but but again, I do think that it's going to be, you look at the middle of the week and just see it. It's going to be personal. It's going to be personalized for every person. But I do get the sense like you'll, once the windfall comes to you, you're going to be like, oh gosh, that's what that was for, you know? The other thing I get is that you're going to be kind of modest about it. Now, by the end of the week, this is really beautiful, guys. You got the 9 and the 10 of Pentacles. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't know if this is some kind of pay week for you, or again, maybe this is some kind of fiscal bonus. But I just get the sense. The other thing that I get with the Ten of Pentacles, the root of it being the Ten of Pentacles, and these are very well shuffled cards. These two cards are one right after each other, but I really get the sense like you're going to be feeling very independent. You're going to be feeling really financially independent. This could be from family or some kind of family endeavor. Again, maybe, something about, this could be some kind of family endeavor that has finally paid off. One other way that I can kind of read it is that if you are more of a parent energy, I get the sense like you feel like, again, I'm getting such, this is such an abundance pile, guys. I just really get the sense like it's almost like you're financially stable on your own. You're happy and content on your own. But even if you didn't make your own money or have your own abundance, it's like your family is abundant too and is there for you. Right? It's almost like you have a very it's like everybody in your world is okay, is doing well. The other thing I kind of get is that everybody, your family, and I'm also getting a strong sense of feeling really grounded here. Like, just by the end of the week, you're just going to feel really grounded. But I definitely get a sense that the finances are not a worry for you. Finances are not a concern. And this could be because your family is taking care of things, and therefore it's allowing you to be independent because the family is financially or taking care of the practical matters of life. But I am almost getting a sense like you're independent outside of that. But the other thing that I kind of get is that there might be some kind of family encounter that you have. I also get the sense that it might be outside. Um, One last thing that I kind of get from this is that, with it being a garden, in Lenormand, gardens usually mean social events, like being in the company of others. But I do almost get, I am getting a strong family vibe from this scene. but get the sense it might be outdoors. And again, maybe with world events, maybe you're seeing a family member, or you're visiting someone, but you're keeping it in an outdoor venue. You know, like maybe you go for a walk. I'm really drawn to the dog there. You know, maybe you go to a local park with the dog. Um, but I do get the sense, I'm getting a strong sense, like financially you're very, very well off. Maybe it's payday, and you got some kind of bonus, or um, you know, I get the sense like you're really in a position of power. Like um you're really able to do your own thing by the end of the week. Um, it's like your choices are yours to make. One last thing that I am kind of getting from this is that I am getting like a garden vibe where, and especially with the Empress, the way that she nurtures things, she helps things grow. I don't know if you are doing some kind of gardening. I am kind of getting a strong vibe of that. Like maybe you are actually in a garden and working on some vegetables. If you're in North America, I mean, right now it is still pretty cold out, but one other way I kind of see this is that especially this time of year, sometimes it is that time of year when you start planting things for them to sprout 6 weeks from now. Um, or um, possibly, again, I am getting a strong sense that somehow you might be visiting family and it might be some kind of outdoor thing. Um, but both of these scenes are in a garden. Um, you know, Now, your oracle cards are really interesting. You got lonely, and you got confident. Um which is really, now this kind of puts a new spin on this, is that it's quite possible that maybe, you know how sometimes when you go to family events, sometimes you can kind of feel like the odd man out, not intentionally, but again, one other thing that I kind of get from this is that maybe, maybe all your family members are married, and so they're preoccupied with their spouses and their kids, and then you're just over in your corner of the garden, like holding your hawk, like, okay, here I am, still single, still doing the thing. Um, but so that really does kind of play into this. It's like you do feel kind of like apart from people, but you are still confident. You know, I definitely relate to this energy. It is a little bit of a singleton kind of energy. Um, Again, you can be very well off, financially independent, doing your own thing, very well dressed, very composed. But you know what it almost makes me feel like is that it makes you feel like a rare bird, right? I definitely feel that way sometimes, where it doesn't mean that you're any different from anyone else, but sometimes if you're older and not married, or you prefer to kind of put more of your efforts into work than to family life, sometimes you do get a little bit of that stigma, and it does make you feel, like set apart. Um, the only other thing that I can get is that if this is some kind of public event, it's interesting. I do see these energies going together. It's like you feel separate. You prefer to be separate, and it's not, you're not ashamed of being independent, right? You're confident, like it does. And honestly, the short hair here, it kind of looks like the same woman. I think you're a very accomplished person. um but I do get the sense like, One other thing that I'm kind of getting from this is it's possible that maybe you might hear from a friend that they're pregnant, or hear about a friend who just had a baby, and then, by the end of the week it's really on your mind, where, you're single, independent, no family, but compared to other people, you think that, you might start to feel that loneliness a little bit. But you're still very confident. You're independent. You don't need anyone. I am almost getting like a strong family kind of thing. One other thing I can get is this could very well be a work environment as well, where, again, with it being the garden, and Lenormand talks about like social encounters. So, it could be you hanging out with other people of your same ilk, of your same level. If you either do the same job, or you make the same money. But I do get an outdoorsy vibe from this. So maybe if it's warm outside, you're adhering to social distancing. But I am getting a strong sense that you are doing your own thing, and you're happy to do your own thing. But I think that the way that you do things, it's interesting. I feel like the way that you do things, and especially you're going to really feel it at the end of the week, the way that you do things earns you the same amount of money, the same amount of self-respect, the same amount of confidence as other people. But you do your thing in such a unique way that it does make you feel a little bit set apart, right? Like you're in a crowd full of people, but you still feel alone. Um, Last but not least, this could be some kind of work thing, and I know a lot of us are not doing gatherings, which is understandable. But if this is some kind of work thing, you feel confident. You're representing, your group, but you do feel. I think inside you're going to feel a little bit lonely. Um, but I don't think this is going to last very long. I just think that it's going to be a little bit of a lingering kind of feeling. And but I would definitely say that, but your energy, you are very good about being independent. And if you do get into a lonely energy, you are completely you happy to take care of other people. But especially with this coming up, if you do feel like you need a little bit of that love given back to you, I would say you might want to speak up a little bit. Because the thing I kind of get is that when you look at the Nine of Pentacles, she looks so confident. You're almost afraid to approach her, right? You notice how sometimes the folks that just have that exterior of just not needing anything, you don't realize that they do need something. They need a little bit of company. So I would say just, don't be afraid to, it might just be the difference of turning around and saying, hey, can I join you? you know, I think what might be happening is that a few people might be afraid to approach you because they think that you don't want to be bothered, even though you would really love some company. Alright guys, so that's your energy. That's really cool. Alright, so last but not least, we've got the Tattoo Tarot, Inked in Intuition. Let's go ahead and see what's your energy for the next 7 days. Oh my goodness. Okay, middle of the week. Ace of Wands, Four of Wands. Oh, okay. Nine of Cups. Oh my gosh, the Ace of Swords has shown up in all 3 reads. Five of Wands. Okay. Oh gosh. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. Oh my goodness. Okay, we got some interesting energy here, guys. All right. So beginning of the week, we've got the Knight of Swords. And wow, look at this guy. What's interesting is that most of the time the Knight of Swords is like horseback and he's running full speed, like he's just jumping right into the fray. This Knight of Swords is different because I love the fact that around him you see the little swirlies, which it looks like gusts of air, right? You see like a storm's a brewing around him, and he's just standing there, and the expression is so intense. Isn't it amazing? This artwork is really amazing, but it does. He's standing still, but just in his eyes, he looks like he's about to lunge forward, right? So I kind of see this. I'm going to take it from the perspective of this being your energy. So that's, to help clarify it so we don't have so many ifs, ands, or buts, I tried to give several scenarios, so we don't just have one storyline, but we want it to be very clear as well. If from your perspective, I get the sense like because the wind blowing is around him, I kind of get the sense that you might be in an environment where there's a storm going, or just gusts of wind doesn't necessarily have to be like a tornado, but it can definitely be movement, right? The other thing I get with wind, you could be in the presence at the beginning of the week. You could be in an environment where people are doing a lot of talking. People are doing a lot of talking, and what I'm kind of getting is people are either talking at you. Again, all these little swirlies look like, maybe people are talking, at you or about you, and you can hear it, or what they're saying. The other thing that I kind of get is that sometimes, if this is like in a work context, maybe people are making a lot of decisions. Sometimes I see this card really come out whenever you are being subjected to other people's opinions. I see the Knight of Swords come out for that sometimes, and I know you look at them and you think, oh, okay, well, knights are the early 20s folks, right? They're not pages, they're not children, but they're not kings or queens either. So that they're that nice little middle ground of they've had an introductory experience to communication, but they're not as seasoned as kings and queens where they know how to use their words in a very controlled and to a certain end, right? So the knight can definitely pop off at the mouth, and that's what I'm kind of seeing here. This is someone who looks like he's ready to give you a piece of his mind in probably 5 different languages. But what I'm kind of getting here is the way that you see how tense he looks and the way he's holding on to that sword. And when you think about a sword, what is a sword used for? It's used for defense or offense, right? And swords are words. Swords are thoughts. So what I'm really getting with this night is I feel like in the beginning of the week, you're either reining it in, like you are really biting your tongue until it bleeds or breaks, where you're really ready to pop off at the mouth. But I get the sense that the reason that that's happening is because you're irritated, or you're being told what to do or what to believe, or I'm getting a strong sense of a lot of people are blowing a lot of hot air at you. The other thing that I kind of get is that I kind of think of nights, and we've all been there. Again, all of us. You can be the most mature energy in the whole world, and you can have a bad day where you're really ready to just again go off on somebody. And I'm not defending it, but a lot of times you see night energy, especially Knight of Swords, when you keep taking it and taking it and taking it, and then you finally snap. You finally snap, and that's when you start swinging the sword around your head, because it's like, good God, can you all just shut up? you know it's like when it finally comes out, it is not polished, because you are so free. The knights take action, right? They're sent on missions, right? So I do kind of get the sense like you're trying to be the king, you're trying to be the queen, but it is very, very difficult because you have a lot of hot air around you. And that hot air can be really pompous people, can be entitled people, it can be, um, I'll reference back to the beginning of this video. I had a really rough day, and it was funny. I was all day long, right till the very end, very productive, helping people, really good mood. And then the one communication, the one interaction with someone when they were just railing. And that's the other thing. When someone rails on you, their goal is to not I have the phrase, and I've always said this: when you be a part of the solution, don't be a part of the problem. And if you're going into a conversation because you're frustrated and all you're going to do is rail on somebody, that's being a part of the problem and not the solution. And believe me, I'm not proud of myself. I've had plenty of times where I've I've been angry, and that's one thing I tried to be very careful of. If I have to call something, like if I have to call my phone provider or whatever, and I'm rip roaring pissed, I'm going to hold off. I will wait 24 hours because I don't want to take out, verbally on somebody who doesn't deserve it. I'll try to get my anger in check first. But sometimes you either get on the receiving end, and that's what I'm almost kind of getting here is like, this person is really ready to give. He's tired. This person, male or female, is tired of having everybody else's opinion barked at him. Or the other thing I get is that when you hold it in, it is a little bit of I'll come out and say it. It's psychological abuse when you sit there and just take it and 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 take it, and then you will turn around. That's the steam kettle, guys. The steam kettle is the Knight of Swords. You see how tense he is. He will turn around and be like, shut up, you're full of hot air. I don't give a crap about your opinions. You're full of shit, shut up, that's kind of like. And the other thing about, if you want to get a chance, if you get a chance to watch the How to Tarot and the Knight of Swords, that was actually really interesting. He's not a bad character, just like the other knights, but he'll break it down for you. But the other thing that you get is it's going to be blunt. It will not be polished, but I do get the sense, I'm getting a strong feeling like this is breaking point energy. And that could be that maybe you do have a busy beginning of the week. Maybe you just got too much on your plate. But the other thing that I kind of get is that you're taking it and you're not dishing it back, and that what's being thrown on you is some hot air. I think you got a lot of people doing a lot of talk. The other thing that I'm really seeing here is that with the fact he's surrounded by air, I think you're surrounded by a lot of people who are all talk and no action. That's the other thing, and that's the other. I'm getting a ding ding ding, winner chicken dinner with that. Because I think that's the other part of your frustration. I think that's the other reason that you're really ready to go off on someone, and is like, okay, can you actually back that up with some kind of action? Because I get the feeling like you're the only person who's taking actions. That's the other thing, is that knights do go on missions, so maybe you're being treated like the errand person, and it's frustrating you. Now, just one other thing, if there is no frustration in the beginning of your week, it could just possibly be that maybe you are going on errands like that involve either driving or bringing communication to others. But the Knight of Swords is a very powerful speaker, and I do get a few sense that if this is just a traveling card, just out of curiosity, one clarifier for the Knight. Nine of Wands. Oh, God, guys. Aha, yes. There we go. Okay. I'm not even going to go down the other track. Nine of Wands. Yeah. You're at your breaking point. You got a lot of windbag. around you. And the thing I'm getting is you're getting a lot of opinionated people who don't do any of the actual. The other thing that I kind of get is if you are in IT or something like that, it's quite possible that you're getting a lot of hot air about things not going right, but you're not. They're not the person that fixes it. So it's almost like you don't want to spend a whole lot of time listening to them. Pardon my French, fuss and bitch a fit. It's like, okay, can you wrap this up so I can actually go fix this? Because all you're doing is talking and no action, and that would be something. See, you can even see in my tone of voice, I'm channeling this. You're tired. You're tired. You know what I almost get is that if you want to feel a little bit better, if you are in this energy at the beginning of the week, if you've ever seen the new Star Trek movies, Scotty, the Simon Pegg character, he is so freaking funny in that. There are so many times when he's like, they're like, Scotty, fix it, fix it. He's like, give me 1 minute, you daft bastard. Like he's like, this is not easy, give me a minute, like your head spinning around. That's what I'm kind of getting from this, guys, and I'm so sorry. Please try to give yourself a break if you can. If you can. But that's almost what I'm getting. Like, I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. I do love the fact that half the time he's dealing with, like, the other thing I really get is that you're dealing with really complicated stuff and you are still learning. The other thing I get is you're a quick learner. You're a quick learner. Like, you land on your feet, but you just don't. The thing is, you don't want anybody fussing at you while you're working your ass off. I'm cussing a lot too. I'm sorry, guys. Now, the middle of the week is really interesting. You got the Ace of Wands and you got the Four of Wands. So there is light at the end of this tunnel. I do think that you're going to have a stressful beginning in the week, but middle of the week, you're going to hit like a plateau. I am getting the sense like you're going to kind of hit like a milestone of achievement. Maybe if you have been a little bit backlogged with your work, you'll finally hit that happy medium point where like you're ahead a little bit. But what I'm getting here is one other thing I'm seeing is that you might be kind of wrapping up one major project. Like this might be the strings, you tying up the loose strings of one final project, and then what it is with the completion of this, you are free to start something new, and you're really excited about what it is that you're looking forward to. Now, if this is separate energy, this could be kind of work related, and then in the middle of the week, you might find a little bit of happiness at home. To be honest, with this many wands, and just to put it out there, wands are a phallic symbol, so it's quite possible that you might have kind of like really crappy Monday, Tuesday, and then in the middle of the week, you actually get like a happy day at home. You might get a little afternoon delight, you know what I mean? Or morning delight, but you're feeling content. It's almost like, again, you get the kind of pressure release that you need. It could be, again, this can be some sexy times with your partner just because that is stress relief. That's stress relief. The other thing with the Four of Wands is that's kind of like the twin flame kind of card. So if you do feel like a strong connection to your spouse or your partner, your girlfriend or boyfriend, the other thing I kind of get from this is that maybe someone really understands what you need by the middle of the week. Like they know that you need a break. So, somebody is kind of mirroring you or understanding you. One other way I kind of read this is that maybe if you do have a day off in the middle of the week, or maybe you get a chance to clock out early one day, or, just get away, kind of have an away day, that you do get a chance to go do something fun, and it's very inspirational. But I am seeing 2 roses here, and then 2 roses here, and then the 4 wands crossing one another. I do feel like this feels like a really happy kind of partnership kind of vibe, and I do get the sense that it's going to be somebody mirroring you, like your counterpart. But I am getting a strong sense that this is a little bit sexual in this what I'm feeling. So I think something in the middle of the week that you're gonna take a good time out, and you might have some intimate times to just kind of take the edge off. um, Now, by the end of the week, this is more wands, guys. We're going back into the wands in the conflicted sense. We got the 5 of wands, and then we've got the Ace of Swords, and then we've got the 9 of cups. Um, wow, guys. This, I'm really seeing like the sword here. Uh, I'm just gonna come out and say it, guys. If you do get some kind of reprieve from the middle of the week, it's like you're gonna come back stronger. You are going to come back to more of that petty, that more of that conflicted energy, but it's almost going to feel kind of petty to you at that point. You know how sometimes when you step away from a situation, you kind of breathe a little bit, and then you come back, and then when you come back, you just kind of see it for what it is. It's like, oh God, this is just some petty drama. I mentioned again at the beginning of the video, I talked about how sometimes we mirror things. That's the other thing with the 4 of Wands. Maybe that's it, guys. Maybe you really just the beginning of the video I talked about like the aura, when you're sensitive, or when you're an empathetic person, or if you're in service, honestly, you tend to, it's like when you talk to many different people, you start to pick up a little piece of their energy. It's almost like a little piece of their energy attaches to you. Again, like if you just got out of the shower, and someone's vacuuming or dusting, you feel like the dust sticking to you. I know that's a weird analogy, but it's kind of like that. Your aura is your energy. And this is actually statistically proven. This is why people don't like standing too close to one another in elevators, is because you're literally the moment that you're less the moment when you're less than 2 feet from someone, even before pandemic world, your aura is moving into theirs, and you can feel it, right? You can feel it. Also, when you hug somebody, when you actually want to hug somebody, their good energy can transfer over to your sphere, combines with theirs, and you're sharing energy. But what I'm kind of getting here is that I do get the sense that it's almost like you haven't had a reprieve. A lot of readers here talk about that all the time, about cleansing your aura, about needing, because we pick when we start. Even when I do the reads, I pick up the energy that you're sending me. So it takes a little bit of cleansing to get back to just my bubble, right? To kind of get, to kind of ease, cast off the energy that I've taken onto myself. And sometimes when you don't get a break to do that, and especially when you deal with people, and it can be, and I even said it doesn't have to be in person. If you deal with people on the phone, if you deal with people via direct message, by email, you do, the way that they make you feel with that interaction can leave you feeling either really drained and down, and ready to lash back again. I'm seeing that. I almost feel like your aura has been infringed upon. Your aura has been breached by everybody else's either negativity, or it could be pompousness, it could be their attitude that you don't agree with. But I get the sense that in the middle of the week, you get a break. If nothing else, maybe there's something that you get a chance to go do that makes you feel accomplished. Again, maybe it's your hobbies. Maybe you have an away day. Maybe you take some time to listen to music, or I'm getting the feeling, but with the ace, it's almost like something really new and kind of exciting. And I get the sense that it gives you a sense of accomplishment as well. And I know that sounds funny, but I get this sometimes. Like I've said here on my channel, I inherited my father's record player, and when I had the day off and I got to go to the record repair store, that was exciting for me. That was like Ace of Wands energy. I was like, oh gosh, yay, you know. And I got to see, the record store. I got to see all these vintage, you know, refurbished, you know, amplifiers and booms, and all of that was, it was learning something new, and it was something that I was interested in, and that's the kind of energy I'm getting here. It's like, you know, something that really breaks you out of this just sitting there and, you know, being a dustpan for everybody else's, you know, crappy energy. But I am getting a sex vibe here, though. I'll just come out and say it. I'm getting the sense that, you know, that's another way that you're going to decompress. But the cute thing here is that next to the Five of Wands, you do also see two hearts. So I get the sense like, and it's like the two hearts have the wands surrounded. So I get the sense that, you know, whatever was bringing you down, you got a good away time. And I do get the sense that you're spending time with a lovey. You're spending, and it's somebody who makes you feel better just by being in their presence. And they understand you, and they know how to help you relax. And it's almost like you come back with a renewed energy. Now, the one thing that I am getting here is, though, if you do come back, when you come back, or your end of the week energy here, there is a little bit of competition here. There's competition. So it could be more of the more, you know, more same soup, different bowl from the beginning of the week. But you're just kind of seeing it in a new light. You're kind of like, okay, it's almost like you're going to pull back and you're going to protect your aura from that energy, and you're just going to be able to see the conflict from a distance. But the other way that I kind of read this, because we've got the Five of Wands, we got the Ace of Swords, and then we got the Nine of Cups, and we just had a tarot on the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups can be a little bit of that smug, look, I won card. Like, you're the man, I'm the man, right? You the man. And with the root of this being in conflict, I do get the sense that you might end up saying something. You might end up saying something. Again, you might be coming back. It might be more of that conflict energy. But one thing I'm almost getting from this is that you're cutting through the conflict. Instead of taking it like you were before, you're cutting through it, right? And you see that there's a crown in this card, like the Ace of Swords. There's a crown, so you're no longer doing that night thing where you're gonna wait until you blow up. And the other thing I get is that when you're in the night energy, sometimes you do sound immature, right? And we've all been there. I've definitely been in my night energy. It's almost like a knee-jerk reaction. It's like when you finally open your mouth to say something, you're so stirred up mentally that it doesn't come out right. But it's also because in this context, I also get it's because you've been surrounded by BS, you know. And when you finally come out and say this is BS, and everyone's like, no, it's not, and you're like, oh god, you know, eye roll. But end of the week, it is almost like you're gonna get into the fray. But this time it's gonna be a lot. I get the sense that you're gonna use your voice to kind of cut through it. I do think that you are kind of protecting your energy with this, which is great. You know, it's almost going to kind of crown you again. You're going to be more in a king or leadership kind of energy. The other thing that I get is that one other thing that I do kind of get from this is that it's quite possible that you might have to kind of, because these are two aces, you might have to kind of push your way to the head of the pack a little bit, right? In order to get what you want, in order to be the winner, so to speak, there might have to be a few losers here. The other thing that I get is that you might quite honestly have to call a few people out on something, which I know is a really uncomfortable energy. But the other thing about the Ace of Swords is also it's about truth. right? It's about truth. One thing that I'm kind of getting from this is that I'm hearing the phrase, the truth will set you free. Like by stating the truth, it's going to give you what you want. So I'm going to be honest, guys. One thing that I'm kind of seeing here is it quite possibly might be that there was some kind of plan. Like this could be like a work project, and you just felt like things were not being done like the right way, like on the level, possibly ethically, and you're going to get tired of that, you know, that inauthenticity, and you'll call it out. And what it'll do is it'll kind of make you look like the hero. Like it'll give you what you want. It'll get rid of this conflict because this is a 9 and this is a 9. Um, but but what you have to do is, I'll be honest, guys. I'm getting a little bit of a vibe of somebody needing to be thrown under the bus. And so it's one of those things, like maybe you were participating in some kind of group effort that you felt like was not on the level, but in order to get out of it, in order to get freedom, or to, you know, to be happy and away from it, you have to call out that you were a part of it. I know that sounds crazy. It is going to make you feel good. You'll be like, yes, this gives me what I want, but you're going to need to be truthful about some of this little bit kind of shady conflict that's been going on. Yeah. So what I'm kind of getting is it's like by you telling the truth, it makes you look good, but in by but a side effect, a result of it, is you're going to make the other people involved look bad, like they were the ones in the wrong. Um, and that kind of plays into your oracle cards because you got guilty, you know, blameworthy, responsible, at fault. And then you've got disgusted, which is like revolted, nauseated, repelled. Um, so the other thing that I see is with these swirlies here, again, you know, you might be seeing stuff going on that you really don't agree with and you're ready to speak out about. But but what I'm also kind of getting is that maybe you feel guilty because you did participate in it. But I do see by the end of the week, there will be clarity. There will be clarity. Like, I do think whatever's been going on, you know, whatever this conflict is. The one other way that I kind of read this too is that, you know how when stuff is going on, when things get eerily quiet, but you can tell that people are arguing amongst themselves, and then finally when the laundry gets aired, so to speak, that's when, you know, everybody's separate opinions get brought out, and that's kind of like the ace kind of energy, like, okay, everything's coming to light. um and again, the 9 of Cups is about getting what you want, right? So something about the situation, something about this scenario coming to light is going to give you what you want, especially at the end of the week. But the problem is it's gonna cast the light of truth on whatever conflict's been going on underneath the surface. And you kind of see how this dog is in the spotlight too, right? uh, I think it's either, you know, and the disgusted guy too, look at that, you know, he's got, oh my gosh, guys, and look at that, we were talking about auras. Wow. See, now I understand why I was drawn to use this deck. Holy, holy frioles, Batman. Look at that. Both of these cards have like a glowing aura around them. Oh my god. And let me promise you, I mean, you've seen the other cards. It's not like, well, maybe a lot of them do. No? Well, yeah. It's a little bit of the artist style. Yeah, it is a little bit of the artist style. But that really looks very strong there, though. Wow. That's probably why I was drawn to use this deck. But yeah, guys, I think it's gonna cast a spotlight on both yourself and anybody else involved. I think by bringing it to light, it's gonna give you like a wish fulfillment. But I do also think that it's gonna make you feel a little bit guilty because you were either a part of it, or the only other thing I can think of is maybe you felt guilty for staying with it for so long, for not saying something. But or the only other thing I can think of is maybe you feel guilty for coming out so strongly. Again, sometimes when you've had enough, when you are disgusted enough to finally say no, I've got to do the right thing. And that's the other thing. That's the thing about the Knight of Swords. He does the right thing. He does it in a very blunt manner, which might be what's going on here. Is that, that's the other thing, is that with the dog, he chewed up the shoe, right? Maybe you chewed somebody's butt because you'd had enough, but then in doing so you've really kind of but I do see this as separate energy. I kind of feel like the beginning and ends of your week are the same situation, but you have two aces. So you definitely have some new beginning energy here, but I do think that you be kind of like a it's going to be calling out things that are conflicted and been causing you grief. The other thing I get is that maybe you've just been working way too hard. The other thing I get is this guy is taking out the trash, right? He's taking out the trash. Maybe you've been treated like the trash person, and you're taking out the trash, right? You're done. But this is beautiful energy. It's very breakthrough energy, and I think by the end of the I do get by the end of the week that you are going to feel a little bit bad with the way that the other thing I'm getting is that maybe you feel bad for the way that things fall out, the way that this came to light, but you don't feel bad that it's finally, been aired. It's in the trash can, done. Okay, put the lid on it. This is finished. And it but and I definitely do feel like in the middle of the week you're going to have a nice reprieve. There's going to be something that just makes you feel really, really happy. This could be home related too. There might be some kind of project that you're doing around a house or in a house, that just gets you real excited. But I do feel like this is a separate keynote energy, and it comes at a very good time because I think you really do need that break. Whether that's, getting away just for a few hours in the middle of the week. All right, guys. So, wow, I really like that read, guys. And again, this is what we call a pip deck, where there's not, if it's the Two of Wands, you see two wands. It's not like a picture, but we got a lot of information from that. But I thank you so much for joining me. I hope that everyone has a very good week. Again, I know I was a little slow. I'm gonna get a good rest in, get some sleep myself, and then. But I thank you so much for joining me. If you like my content, I would be very honored if you would like, comment, and subscribe. Right now, I do post 2 videos a week: the weekly energy card reading every Saturday, and the How to Tarot every Tuesday. We only have about 1 more month of the How to Tarot, and then after that, we're going to start doing different types of videos. But I thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that I see you again in the next video. Bye.